We generated around 560 plus million impressions organically. Those
creating property cards for the first time for people owning houses in the rural areas.
We have a patent on a bits technology, which...
But we were really guided by what we wanted it to be.
In terms of the content consumption pattern has changed.
Very competitive, very crowded.
The objective is basically to democratize cancer care.
I see a very bright future for retail industry.
Technology now allows us to scale up.
We also want to help patients become more compliant.
If I look at the custom solutions market, it's almost about $1,500 billion.
Your customers will not continue to be with you if you don't change it.
We had adopted digitalization much earlier.
within a very short span of time, we are the number one operator in the whole of South India.
If you are reaching out to 1 lakh people today, you would be reaching out to an entire globe tomorrow.
We got those 2 brands and then immediately got into a few of the LFRs and there was no looking back.
Hey, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the 36th episode of Ascent Talks. My name is Ajit and I'm an Ascent member for the past 10 years. And I lead Nova, an air conditioning company, and Pure Blue, a tech-enabled startup in the air conditioning domain. And as usual, my co-host for the show is Aleem. How are you doing, buddy?
Fantastic, and good morning, everyone. My name is Aleem Merchant, and I run an advertising and marketing company in Mumbai called Synapse. And very excited to have you on the show today.
Awesome, guys. So just before we get started with our speaker today, a quick intro onto Ascent. Ascent is a not-for-profit organization founded by Harsh Mariwala, Chairman Marico Limited, and his deep passion for identifying promising entrepreneurs in the growth stage. Its primary objective is to support these entrepreneurs, expanding their enterprises and enhancing their entrepreneurial journey. Since its establishment in 2012, Ascent has successfully empowered over 850 entrepreneurs throughout India. Ascent stands out as a remarkable platform that fosters peer-to-peer collaboration, leveraging the collective strength of its members. At the heart of this platform are self-facilitated groups known as trust groups, where entrepreneurs come together to share their experiences, exchange ideas, and provide valuable insights. By creating such a vibrant ecosystem for learning and growth, Ascent enables its members to benefit from each other's knowledge and expertise. Ascent Talks, which takes place on a weekly basis, showcases the journey of Ascent members, highlighting their fascinating entrepreneurial experiences. So, Ali, let's bring our guest on today.
Welcome in, Shraddha. From playing with numbers to delving into software, Shraddha Thanawalla's transition has been an adventure. The strength of a CEO and the director of a Mumbai-based technology company, Merce Technologies, lies in her value as an executor. Shraddha's career began with understanding software systems and components such as web proxies and firewalls in early 2000s, followed by getting a grasp on programming languages. While she was shifting from products to software services, she always says that she is lucky to be surrounded by techies who patiently explain to her the fundamentals behind tech and they focus on concepts. So welcome, Shraddha, to the show, and very excited to have you today.
Hi, Aleem. Hi, Ajit. Thanks for warm welcome. Looking forward for this chat.
Thank you. Shraddha, I think it's a great idea if you can just start off with your entrepreneurial journey and what is Merce Technologies.
Yeah. So for me, it has been, of course, very interesting. It has been a roller coaster ride. So one of the things which I realized that I'm an accidental CEO. I'm an accidental entrepreneur. So my journey has started with picking up a job. I am from finance background, and when I joined this organization, it was called Starcom Software at that point of time. I was doing a job as on accounts finance side. Okay, and it was year 2001. If you remember, 2001 was probably darkest era in IT industry. People were leaving their cars and their assets in US and coming back to India, and it was kind of chaos, right? And future was pretty dark, if I say so. So when I joined this organization, though I was in a role of accounts, I was not to be very honest, I was always more curious about businesses rather than just figures behind it. So as things had to be, we were not doing too well, we required some people who looked after business. So I started looking at sales. Okay, and one thing which I realized is sales is like whatever people say, you need to really know your product. You need to know what you're talking about. And I was absolutely not comfortable just learning some jargons, throwing at clients, and trying to make a sale. That particular psyche doesn't work for me. I need to know what I'm talking about. So I started learning a lot of technology from my colleagues, my mentor guide, who was then MD CEO. Now he's working in capacity of chairman and founder director. He's my mentor. So he sort of was very patient. I think some technology people are like that, and I have been very lucky. They started explaining me at conceptual level about what technology means, how it works, and it made perfect sense. There were no jargons, and as it had, I mean, the best thing, what worked out for me is I could grasp those concepts and I could actually explain people at conceptual level. And surprisingly, market really thought that I made sense. Okay, they could see what I'm selling, what is the ethos behind our product journey. That was a product time. Okay, and so my journey began in the sales area for a product, and it was on system side. So understanding hardware to some extent, understanding email, SMTP protocol, squid proxy, file management, all of those things. Like it's very complex world,
No, I just a second, Shraddha. It is complex for you. It is going bouncer for everyone of us. Okay? These are super words to say that I'm in a damn cool business, because none of us even understand. Because
when my daughter said she's learning Python, I thought she's talking
I will
biology.
explain your entire system software now, and we need to ask for that. Yeah. So my journey started like that, and it went on. Yeah, sorry, Ajit, you were saying
no, I was just saying. See, having moved through different phases, from finances, from sales, and everything, you must actually throw us a little bit of light as to how big is this market that you're trying to tap in, and how is Merce actually fitting into that huge market. That would be very interesting to understand that, from a journey, how is the big market, how big is it, what is the world doing, and what are you guys planning to do around it?
This is absolutely, what you are asking is a very important question, honestly speaking. And as I said, my journey started in sometime in 2001. Company was 1 year old at that time. So our journey had been, we were a very small player. We started with some 5-7 people organization, and today we are a little less than 200 people. Now, this entire journey, what happened is we were, honestly, when we look at this large market, okay, we were a small player in this entire game. Now, important thing was that we were working or competing with the giants of the market. So my clients are like National Stock Exchange, NSDL, CDSL, some of the largest nation-building financial organizations. And that was a place where we were actually giving solution architecting. It was not only about some off-the-shelf something. So when we were doing that particular activity, for us, there was tremendous pressure on delivery. So we will get 5% of the pie, 95% will go to TCSs and Cognizants of the world. But our work was so important that it really made a deep mark in those organizations in terms of their own IT journey. So that was the very challenging period. And even today, By the way, I have the same clients, unbroken billing of last 20 years, and we still try to keep the same position and compete with some of the giants in IT industry.
Wow. So from 95 you didn't have and 5 you had. Now how is it? 5 for them and 95 for you? Tell us it. Tell us that's the right thing.
So honestly, we are a techie company. Okay, we always, our focus had been like starting from open source, Linux. We could talk Unix language. We can talk about scalability. So when we talk about some of these nation building institutes like NSE and all, they talk about giant scale. It is not really about how beautiful the screen is. Okay, and when it comes to scale and security, we really, I mean, as I mentioned, like the founder, chairman Shubham Mishra, he's from IIT, BTech, MTech, and he really understands deep technology concepts, and we could ride on that. And that really made the whole difference, to be very honest. And anytime, and one of the important thing which I learned is, and I think everybody needs to know, IT is not as mumbo jumbo as it sounds. It sounds very impressive, it sounds very scary, but trust me, it is like, cat out of the bag. Once you understand the basics, it is like cat out of the bag. You are not going to be like, oh, okay, theek hai, ho jayega kind of stuff. So yes, that is the way I look at it.
Super. Shraddha, tell us, you took over the reins, and then what kind of challenges did you face as an entrepreneur? What are the challenges you face as an entrepreneur? What are the challenges you face as a business in this landscape?
Yeah, Aleem, that has been one of the, I really faced some of the very difficult things. See, as I explained, my background started from finance. I started working in sales, also delivery and all that. Now, our company has always been known as techie company, company who delivers geeky solutions, something very unusual, out of the box. Now, when we say that, essentially we are curtailing our own growth. Nobody is going to give me business of 50 people coding for 5 years. Do you see? It was kind of conflicting with scale. So my biggest challenge was how to scale up without losing our foundation, and foundation which is in technical excellence. So that has been my biggest challenge, and I have been walking on that path for the last few years now.
Wow.
So tell me something, Shraddha. One of the important things that I really want to actually bring, you spoke about open source, and the whole world is talking about AI and everything. And we are also addressing a lot of the MSMEs around this place, who's listening to us, who are also Ascent members and who are also viewers to our show. My question is, what are your thoughts on open source? Does it make sense for a lot of MSMEs to actually stay focused and discover open source solutions? And what do you think about AI? Is it going to get integrated into a business? Because AI seems scary for some people are excited about it. Throw us a little light around this open source and AI for keeping MSMEs as the business, small business owners.
So, I am very big proponent of open source technologies. There are certain myths moving around about how open source works. People can change code and whatever, various types of fears are surrounding open source world. Now, today, I'll tell you, last 22 years, I have been in this organization working on Linux laptop. I'm a non-techie. Okay.
Wow.
I can't write a single code for my life. Okay. To save my life. Okay. Now, I don't remember a single time our entire organization ever went through any kind of virus attack, any kind of spam, massive spam attack, any kind of vulnerability. The point is not that you just install something. Even in Windows world, it is possible. Okay, so I will not say that it is not possible. The only thing is the default of what open source offers you is far more powerful than what a default of proprietary world offers you. Now, if you are hardening both the systems equally well, I don't see there are vulnerabilities. Okay, and at the same time, what is happening in open source world is today we all are using maybe thousands of application tools on our computer, our phones, and most of them are open source based. And look at how world is growing. People are embracing this kind of ethos which goes behind open source, because uh, people who are looking at a particular piece of application, they all work together to improvise it, to improve upon it, to address the market requirement. Okay, it is not really the competition about you add one feature versus I'll add another feature. So that makes a whole lot of difference. So for SMEs as well, the important part only I will say is there are a lot of tools and basic tools, okay, which is most important. That is Word, Excel, PowerPoint. Now that you cannot get away with any kind of open source tools, to be very honest. So I will not recommend that blindly follow it. Only when people are going for proprietary, they are going for Windows kind of environment, they need to be careful about security. They cannot say कि अरे virus का वो lapse हो गया, we will renew it after 3 months. Please, I mean, just simply avoid it, that kind of a thing. So, second question which Ajit you asked was about AI.
AI.
Now, AI per se at a larger scale, I think today with ChatGPT and equivalents coming in, there is humongous scope. It is a very powerful tool. At the same time, we have to remember it's a tool. It's not an answer to your problems. Okay, it's like a knife. If when somebody gives you a knife, what you do with it, is it powerful? Yes, it is powerful. Can you cut 5 different things? Yes, you can. But you need to know what you have to cut. Same with AI. You need to know, you need to have your own validation about what it is throwing at you. So one of the very popular use cases I'm seeing in SMEs especially is content writing. And when I say content writing, it did not be only about something which you are publishing outside. Any kind of content. Sometimes even, in fact, we encourage people at many at junior level to ensure that English is correct. Okay. At that time, or write 2 or 5 sentences or few paragraphs about certain particular activity, or when you are replying to some clients or some vendors, try to have a polite conversation. And many times we coming from non-English speaking world, okay, we always have little challenge. So I see that as a great tool. But at the same time, it should not sound the way many times it sounds like. You need to have intelligence that it is exactly communicating what you are trying to say. And it is not too ornamental and all that. So I think AI is important, but at the same time, you can't trust it blindly in terms of information. You can't trust it blindly for replacing your intelligence with that. It's finally artificial. It's not real intelligence. So I think that particular part we should be cognizant of.
Super. Shraddha, after 22 years of your company, you have now embarked on a transformation process post-COVID. So tell us, what are you doing and why you're doing the same, and with context with entrepreneurs specifically.
Yeah. So Aleem, this COVID, I mean, I think for many of us, it has been disaster. At the same time, it has been blessing in disguise. So same was the case with us. There were certain aspects which were kind of disastrous. However, what it helped is it allowed us to step back. Okay, and when you step back, suddenly the entire landscape changes dramatically, and we realize that this is the point when we need to start looking at scalability. And scalability cannot happen with one person. And I'm very clear that I am not heroic leadership wearing cape. I'm very uncomfortable with that particular positioning. And I got that opportunity where I started looking at how to build L2 level team consistently, uniformly over a period of time. It so happened that I also could partner with some of the very good, brilliant, actually, industry experts who helped me in this transformation journey. So we started this in January 2022, actually. after a lot of introspection and all that. And we launched Project Shakti, a transformation program in our organization. And it sort of took up a very interesting and important shape. It started with values and culture, and it went up to like introducing all possible best practices for delivery, about how to manage internal team members, how to look at their growth, how to make them align with their own job, and how to make them proud about what they are doing. For me, that particular thing is extremely important. See, all of us do go to work, What is I mean, one of the things which I always wonder, like, what is the difference between entrepreneur and employee? I think entrepreneurs like what they do. Employees do it for half of the time. Again, it is not a judgmental statement, but it is like, okay, EMI pay karna hai. Okay, now I wanted to bridge that gap. Fine, even we all need to pay EMIs, but important thing is we have pride in our heart when we go to our work. We say, this is my work, this is my office. I wanted each and every individual to be proud of what they are doing. And for us, we being a technology company, I wanted it to percolate at every corner of our organization, every engineer being proud of what they are doing. So, in some sense, we see a lot of stories, and people talk about that without my parents' blessings or my spouse's help, I wouldn't have been able to do it.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to hear my team saying that without the confidence which I get from my organization, my position in the organization, I wouldn't have survived in my personal journey. So that is the thing which I want to sort of bring it on table for all our team members.
One day, probably we would like to hear the impact of this whole Project Shakti in your organization. We would definitely
Maybe
want to.
but I'm on your side, but I want to see it, and
That's nice.
I'll be very happy to share it with you.
So, Shraddha, I have one question around this, because I'm again going back to small businesses. We all build our businesses and we've grown up. One of the biggest things that I have come across most businesses is that cloud technology. And while most of us think it's very revolutionary, it has changed the game, it has built so much of impact into our lives, but there's a generic fear. Cloud means data security is an issue. Who has access to my data? Will I get my access to my data? What is your thoughts around this, and how do you actually explain to business owners that cloud technology is the future?
So, one thing to answer simply, yes, cloud technology indeed is future for many of the different type of setups. So, especially more so for SMEs and startup. That is the way I look at it. For established businesses, honestly, they really need to look at total cost of ownership more closely to determine whether cloud is going to be more effective, more flexible for them, or it is going to be on-prem solutions. And when I say on-prem, it can be essentially on some kind of data center, but they have 100% control on how to set up infrastructure. Now, specifically when you ask me question on SME, Ajit, I see it as there is huge total cost of ownership when SME needs to run their own IT setup. Okay, they need to have their servers. They need to have their people who are managing those servers. There needs to be half a dozen or maybe even dozen of software which they need to manage. Okay, they need to ensure that licensing has not expired. They have to see that it is not vulnerable. They have to ensure that things are not getting messed up. Now, with all of these things coming in, how much SME owners, it can be one founder or two founders or maybe maximum of three, right? I mean, we are not looking at whole lot of army to manage this. In that kind of a scenario, I think it is probably best if they move on to cloud. Now, in cloud, what happens is around 70-80% of the things you are buying off the shelf. Of course, it doesn't mean that you know what to buy, but then that is far easy. It is a one-time consulting from some cloud experts rather than the whole journey living with it, right? So that is the way I look at it. Like I think it is a boon for SMEs. Of course, they need to evaluate a lot of aspects, but generally, my advice, my opinion will tilt toward cloud rather than on-prem kind of a situation. And I have seen a lot of SMEs suffering because they are still holding on to their own infrastructure, trying to run their entire setup with one or two people. Whereas today's time, you need whole lot of army to manage your IT. So yeah, those are difficult decisions.
Shraddha, you've been an Ascent member, and I believe I've always seen you around here and there whenever the Ascent events happen. Tell us about your Ascent journey.
Ascent journey has been very interesting, Aleem. And I am always a little excited to talk about it. And I had been part of governance council, and that time I was mainly looking at, I was meeting people who are applying in this Ascent. So one of the things which I I always used to tell, don't expect miracle. Okay. And not expecting that itself is the answer. And perseverance. Don't see, everyone within the Ascent has huge things to offer you at personal level, at professional level, at some ideas level. It will come, but it will not come out of every meeting.
Yeah.
Okay. So for me, my trust group is it is very dear to me, and the kind of confidence and ease they have given me. I think I don't think in my personal or even in professional life I have really got that. So I would say it is extremely enriching. And thanks to all my TGs, I mean, they have been great. Of course, even I have been great with them.
Nice to hear that.
Awesome, Shraddha. Shraddha, we've got just about 3-4 minutes to go before we wind up the show. And we want to know a little about, I remember chatting up with you and you said, I'm an avid trekker, right? And I'm very fortunate to I've got hold of some of those wonderful pictures that you've taken. And while I show these pictures, I want you to tell everybody from your personal hobby, how do you actually relate to trekking and entrepreneurship that you kind of actually always talk about?
So one common thing between both these things, both things are very hard. Don't expect miracles. Okay. But once you are doing this, and I will not say it is stop, it is a long journey, long, arduous journey. And both of these things, it is extremely rewarding in itself. It is so beautiful. Both. Again, I'm referring to both of these things. I mean, here it is in the form of pictures, but when we think in terms of entrepreneurship, everything is beautiful in terms of there is a lot of learning, there is a lot of insights which you understand about people, about industry, how things work. And just like Ajit, you are also a trekker, so you can relate to it, right? I mean, we understand how our body is responding when we are trekking. Whether when we are going up, how our legs are behaving, when we are going down, how different it feels. I would just say that it is kind of parallel thing for me. I see beauty in the journey. When you reach at top, again you come down, again you try for another attempt, and what can I say? It is breathtaking. Both the journeys are breathtaking for me. So recently, I came back from a trek from Jagatsuk trek from Manali, and it was snow-clad mountains, and it was really crazy. The thing is, nobody guarantees you, or nobody gives you any kind of comfort. Nobody gives you guarantee that you will be able to do something. You don't even know almost, at one point whether you will survive or not. Just like in entrepreneur journey, I have been at brink of. Do you think we will have to close down? Do you think we will survive another 3 months? Okay, and here it is. Do you think I will survive another 3 hours? It's the same, and it is very exciting.
How amazing is that? Yeah, so you're very fortunate that these are some of the pictures that she actually is sharing with you from her last trek, and it's breathtaking, as you rightly said. So amazing, Shraddha. Thank you so much. It's been fun listening to you, and we would definitely like to.
It was really pleasure. It really turned out very well, interesting. I'm not in best of my health, but I think I just did realize when this 30 minutes got over. So thank you very much.
Thank you for
Thanks a lot, Shraddha. We will definitely catch up with you to understand the impact of Project Shakti. And thank you so much. It's been a pleasure to have you with us today.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
All the best.
Bye-bye. Bye. Oh, man. Did you see those pictures? What's your thoughts on that?
I think the one thing you realize about trekking is that everything behind looks beautiful, everything in front looks like it's a challenge, and that's like
that's brilliant. Yeah, actually, that's what it is. Yeah, but it's an amazing experience because from my perspective, also sometimes I go on these treks just to take my mind off everything and just stay focused on the task and just see how I can finish that, and it just clears your mind to a very great. But yeah, amazing. So we are towards the end of the show, and that's our 30 minutes. And if you are an entrepreneur, just happy listening to us. Subscribe, share these videos to another friend of yours, and I'm sure you'll make their day. But if you are an entrepreneur who's ready to scale up and who is growth ready, then get to ascentfoundation.in and apply for membership. And one of our Ascent team members will get in touch with you and will evaluate whether you actually fit into our cohort and whether you are in the business which is ready to scale up. And we will be happy to have you as one of our cohort members. So that's it for today. And thank you very much. We will see you next Friday with another interesting story on Ascent Talks. Thank you very much, guys. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye, Aleem. See you around.